Hi, I'm Angelica Bell and welcome to the NatWest Business Show. Joining me today is someone I'm especially excited to be chatting to. She's dating app turned parenting app extraordinaire and has built an incredible online space for millions of women to connect. It's Michelle Kennedy, founder of Peanut. Today we're going to be talking about how Peanut has managed to connect millions of women together, why purpose is so important for businesses, and how you can go about finding that purpose for yourself. We've got a lot to get through, so let's get into it. Michelle, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So, do you mind telling us about yourself in 60 seconds? It's something we ask our guests to do all the time. No, don't, it's okay.
I'm a talker, but I'll go.
Well, I think it'd be perfect for you.
Do you?
Yes.
60 seconds.
60 seconds, tell me about your journey now.
Okay. My name is Michelle Kennedy. I'm the CEO of Peanut. I started life as a corporate lawyer doing mergers and acquisitions. And I quickly realized that I wasn't really that kind of lawyer. Moved into work in-house for a client and then eventually ended up working for a dating website called Badoo. At the time, it had 52 million users. I'd never heard of it before and became their lawyer. I'm very nosy. Started asking loads of questions, eventually became deputy CEO there. And we, as part of my time there, we launched what became Bumble and then left and decided I was going to start my own business and started Peanut.
And here you are.
And here I am.
Were you nervous to leave corporate life? It's a big step.
It was a big step, but it didn't feel like a big step, actually, because it felt quite gradual. I think it went from I was working in a corporate environment and then I went to work for a client that I'd already been working on. So that felt quite a natural progression. Probably the biggest jump was leaving that client, which was in biotech, to go and work in tech dating, which was just not a thing at the time. I mean, dating online wasn't really what it is
taboo,
today.
wasn't it,
It really was. It was, people would go on morning TV and be like, they met online. So it was that kind of vibe. And also tech itself wasn't what it is today. I think Facebook had just opened an office in London and, there wasn't a scene as such. So that probably felt like a bigger leap, but, I loved it. But for that, no Peanut.
So for anyone who hasn't heard about Peanut, let's explain what it is and what it does.
So Peanut is a social network just for women, and we focus that social network across life stages. So through fertility, IVF, adoption, surrogacy, pregnancy, new motherhood, and most recently menopause. And the way the app works is you'll see women around you at a similar life stage. You can tell us a little bit more about yourself and we'll match you with other women who are nearby. There's another part of the product which is about groups and communities. They might be local groups that you can join. They might be cohort groups based on you're all got a baby due next year in June. Or it might be that you're really into gaming. There's a group for that. You might want to join the reality TV incognito group, whatever it is. There's a group for everything. And then there's live audio, which is like this, but live that you can join in yourself. So women talking, chatting, experts sometimes coming in to talk about relationships or body issues or lactation or whatever it might be, and other regular women just like you talking about everything and nothing.
So it's a bit like, a platform to get information that's relevant to you, or even a bit like the NCT model.
It's exactly. But, this is about democratizing access to community, friendship, support. Not everyone wants to go through that model. Not everyone can afford to. And this is just about when you join Peanut, you're all there for the same purpose. There's no fear attached to it. There's no rejection element. There's no like, oh God, what if we don't get on? You're all there for the same purpose and you have already commonality because you've all made that decision. I need a friend or I need advice or I need support or I want to laugh or whatever it is. And it's a bit like that moment. We always used to say that you see someone walking down the street and their kid is like misbehaving and you smile at them because you're like, I got you. It's like that, but everywhere, about everything, all in one app. Just a really big community of women who have all got your back. And, we all need that.
Mm-hmm. So true. But why Peanut?
Because when I was pregnant with Finn, I'd read somewhere that it was the size of a peanut. So that's it. It's named after him. The name stuck. He was always Peanut.
Where did you acquire those skills to be able to set up Peanut?
Definitely being a magpie, just taking the shiny bits of what you understood and started to understand the components of what was working was a large part of it. I also, I like the theory. I like to learn. So I am like always learning, watching, understanding, why did you change that in the product? What did that do? Why did retention drop there? What can we do to change it? Like I was that person. And so was always kind of gathering these data points, not really sure actually what I was doing. It was just there. And even now I'm still drawing on a lot of that knowledge. And, we're many years on and things have changed, but I'm still drawing on a lot of it.
And like you said, you like asking questions, which I think is just sometimes a basic skill that lots more people should use, because you'd find out so much more and then you'd know what to do.
It's so true. There's a feeling, I think, a lot that you're meant to know. You're not meant to know anything, actually. People love to tell you. If you ask questions, people love to share. They want to show you what they know, but they also want to kind of be part of teaching you something. So it's good for them and it's good for you. So it's definitely a skill you get as a lawyer, definitely, because you're always trying to fact find and understand. And it's, put me in good stead.
Well, the platform Peanut has made a difference to so many millions of women. I know people who use it and they love it. Mm-hmm. I know you're expanding. It's really, really exciting. But did you realise it would give so much purpose to other people? Or did you just think, I think this is a good business model?
Do you know, I'll be completely honest. I thought it was a good business. At the start, this was something where I thought, this is a market. The market's a huge opportunity. Women are responsible for 80% of household spend. Women who are mothers are dominating in terms of that household spend. I think I can build a business that's better than what's out there right now. And that was it. What I never expected, I think, at that moment was everything that came with it. That really what started as this business, which is an amazing business, it became a vocation because we're changing women's lives. And, you get up every day and that what you're building is going to have an impact to make that woman feel able to talk about her IVF journey or her recent baby loss, or to enable that woman to say to someone, have I got dementia or is it perimenopause? Or to enable someone else to say, actually, I need to talk to my boss at work about flexible child and working arrangements and I don't know how to do it. Has anyone else been through that? Or just to say, have you seen this meme or whatever it is, to help women find connection and support and feel safe and feel normal and feel heard is like, it's the greatest privilege of my life.
So your business evolved on two different levels.
Definitely. This has been something, and again, I have to say it's hard and you make mistakes along the way. We still make mistakes every day, but it's evolving in a way that I know how important it is to listen to the women who use Peanut, to try and build for the women who use Peanut. It's a huge responsibility. I've got millions of women and I can't let them down. And what we're building for are global issues that affect women.
Yeah.
Like this is not just specific to the US and the UK. These are global problems. And even just to have a tiny part in giving women routes to change, to amplify their voices is just a huge honour.
We're listing all those amazing things that you do for women, which is vital. And also you had your finger on the pulse before, women were allowed to feel proud to be a mother and work at the same time. Do you think that other small brands who don't have a purpose are at a disadvantage, or it doesn't matter? It just depends on what you're trying to seek out or what you're trying to do.
I think it's about you and your personal mission. And it doesn't matter if it's solving global problems or if it's solving a market need. If that's driving you, you have to find that purpose. And I think that's what drives business forward. Mm-hmm. Having the ability to focus every day on what is it that I'm getting out of bed to do today? Is it worth the sacrifices that I have to make? Because there are many. Is it worth some of the challenges that I'm going to face? Come every day, like grenades. Is it worth going through all of that to get to where I'm going? Because, you have to be able to deal with all of that and keep going and keep your team motivated and keep your board excited and keep the market excited. So it doesn't really matter if it has purpose, if the purpose is your purpose, like there's an alignment.
Yeah. And even though your business is purpose driven, you just alluded to the fact that you still have hurdles that you have to jump over.
I mean, every day. Where do I start? Even this week, there's been so many.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And it happens all the time. And sometimes they're big and sometimes they're small. And, you know, I constantly feel like, you know, I'm dodging things. And that's okay. Like, actually, what happens is you just get a bit slicker at it. So some things come and I'm like, no, that's fine. I've had something similar to this before. And sometimes something comes and I'm like, really? Really? Like, okay, and go again, and you try and work your way through it. So it is happening all the time, but it's worth it. And also, you know, even if other people present that that's not happening, 100% it's happening to all of us.
Yeah, because it's so easy to see successful people, business people, and you're like, it's just, I bet they're just sailing through.
That's it. 100%. You have no idea. Swans, legs like this all the time. All the time. It's definitely happening. And actually, you know, in the same way that Peanut is legitimizing so many things to do with womanhood, we have to legitimize it for business as well, right? These things are totally normal. We've all been there. If you can find a little network of other founders or CEOs or people in your industry to talk about it with, you'll just scratch and say one thing. Floodgates will open. Everyone, oh, it's happened to me. Oh, God, you can't believe it. It does happen. It does, you know, it's totally normal. Support networks help.
So what advice would you give to other people wanting to set up a purpose-driven business and they have no idea where to begin?
So really fundamentally, reading. Reading is really important. And it doesn't even have to be that you read anymore. You can listen to podcasts. You can listen, you can absorb it, but you have to understand business fundamentals. Social purpose or not, you're running a business. And so you have to understand the fundamentals. And if you haven't learned them through whatever you were doing previously, or you haven't done anything yet, and this is your first, you have to educate yourself. And there's so much resource there now. It's amazing. Again, compared to when I was starting Peanut, the resource that we have now is incredible. Like, there's so much. There are amazing podcasts. I'm obsessed and I listen all the time on the way here, wherever it is. It's learning, even passively, like, you know, that's super important. And the next is really making sure that you're aligned with that mission and that purpose. Is that the thing that even when it gets really tough going, you still keep going because you believe so fundamentally in what you're building and the change you're going to make. And I think that's important. And the final thing, team, right? You're not doing it on your own. You have to build a network around you of people who believe in that mission too. Your team, you have to get your family and your friends on board. Like, you need that because there will be moments when it's hard and you need people around you to kind of be like, you know, remember what we're doing it for, remember what we're changing, remember where we're going. Remember the size of this opportunity, that kind of thing.
Because that's a really difficult thing sometimes to get sorted, isn't it? To have those people around you. A lot of people say sometimes it's just easier to be on their own, or just then they can make the decisions and there's no one to let them down.
Yeah, I think I've also done that part, and I've also done a lot kind of on my own. And you know what? It's lonely, man. Yeah. It's hard. And you need people around you who are going to be like, come on, you know, there's nothing better than the thrill of hearing something amazing that's happened to Peanut and my entire team being like,
whooping for joy.
Right? There's nothing better than that feeling. There's nothing better than walking into a room and someone saying, I love your product. And you're like, and that feeling, and you don't get that when you're one person. You know, it's a shared joy and it's a shared reflection. And it doesn't matter how you're doing it. If you're going onto whatever like communication system you've got with your team, you're like, oh, you know, when I leave this and I go and I say, oh, you know, people in the room, they use Peanut. It's always moments of like sheer joy. So don't make yourself an island. I've tried that part and it's really hard and quite lonely.
Do you think setting up Peanut has empowered you as a woman? I know what you're going to say.
I mean, look, but for Peanut, my life would be so different. It's really important to me that time away from family, time away from friends is time well spent. And
So it has to matter.
it has to matter. It has to count. I have to make it count. If I'm going to be away traveling for a week from my family, from my kids, I have to make it count. It has to mean something. And so, yes, how could that not be empowering?
Anything you would have done differently?
No. Hindsight's perfect. Do you know what? I have to try and not like go back to hindsight. There are so many things that I would rethink in my approach. Whether that's from the very first approach to fundraising, I think I would have thought about that a bit differently. Construction of early team, I think I might have thought about that differently. But all of it has informed where we've got to today. So there's little point in looking back. I can only look that way.
Okay, well then, using all the life experience you have along the way, what 3 pieces of advice would you give to a woman who wants to, become an entrepreneur or set up their business?
So the first thing is, why not you, right? Don't wait for someone else. Oh, I've got this idea, and then someone else will come out and you'll be like, kind of thought about that, or like, I would have done it better, or whatever it might be. Like, it can be you. So let it be you. And leading on from that, it's just never going to be the right time. There's never going to be the time that you're like, okay, so now this is the time, right? I had a 2.5-year-old and a mortgage, and there was never the right time, but that was the time. That doesn't mean that you can't plan. So I always remember reading another founder who had said, there's no plan B. Everything's plan A, because I just have to make this work and there's no plan B. And I always remember thinking, wow, it's a massive luxury. There's no plan B. I have to have a plan B. I've got a little person who depends on me. I can't not have a plan B. So what did that entrepreneurship look like for me? It meant that I saved a bit before it was the right time to have a little war chest ready to go. And I made sure that there were always other things that I could do to support. I could go on boards. I could be an advisor. I could do something to make sure that I could get plan A. That was my plan B.
So it wasn't a plan B, it was just a backup.
Support. And I think that's really important. Like, we have to be realists. We have lives, we have bills, we have other, things that depend on us. So I think it's a bit of a luxury to be like, only plan A.
Yeah.
I think I had to have a bit of that. So that's my third tip. It's okay to have a plan B or a backup or a support.
Where can they go for advice and places where they could seek funding, just getting that backup?
Listen, funding is a really, we could talk for hours about that and the problems with the landscape and where I feel the challenges are and how frustrated I feel about it. The very, very clear message that I can share is networks are really important, and I never knew it and I never understood it. Since the beginning of time, men have been creating networks and support networks. And within those networks, they share information, they share knowledge, they share recommendations, and they share money. And we really haven't ever been let into that little secret, but it's there and it's happening. And therefore, we have to create our own networks of brilliant men and women, by the way. But we have to create networks. And that might be someone that you used to work with. That might be the partner of someone you used to work with. That might be the person like in the playground. It could be anyone. But those little moments of connection will come back. And you will at that moment be like, oh, wait, actually, I think that person said that they do angel investing. Maybe I can speak to that person for advice, whatever it is. So I think that's really important. Start building your network today, now. Go and do it now.
And that's a bit like what Peanut's based on.
100%. Absolutely. Networks, community, bringing people together.
Helping each other.
Support. I can go off on one now, but the oldest,
please do.
The oldest social networks are based on mothers. Like, we could make or break someone's business, right? You needed a builder, you asked mom. You want a matchmaking service, mom can put people together. Women are really good at it. We just were never told that it applies in these other circumstances. Yeah. So do it today, do it now. Think about your network. Go through your phone book and start thinking, oh yeah, who was that person again? And start thinking about that part. There are amazing angel syndicates now. I think it's more prevalent. I think it's cooler to be an entrepreneur. I think it's more talked about to invest. So I think it's more like there are more resources for investment readily available. So I think that's important. But also understanding Do you need investment? Is investment right for you? Could you bootstrap? Do you need to take, because you must remember the dynamics of what you're doing. Every time you take money from someone else, you're diluting your company. You own a little bit less. And all of those dynamics are important. Not everyone has to do that. Some businesses, you're going to need that. But some you can just get started. You could take a small loan and get started, and you never have to be in that position where you don't own 100%. So I think it's just understanding some of that. Again, podcasts, read a book, learn about it, and then access to investment, work out what investment route is right for you. Start thinking about angel investment as a starting point, I think, before you think about venture capital and beyond.
I was just thinking about everything you've been talking about. And one thing that struck me is that what you're saying is that women are more powerful than we believe.
So much power. So much. We have so much authority. The authority of the word that if you tell me something that you love something, I'm going to say 99.9%, I'm going to go buy it, sign up, read it, whatever it might be. And the authority that your voice carries is huge. So women are extremely powerful, and we just haven't really understood what that power can do for a very long time. There's still huge gaps of where we need to kind of step into that power and own so many other spaces. But right now, there is a narrative where our voices can be heard, not on everything, but we're getting there. And so never, ever question the power of being a woman. It's an advantage. It's a superpower. Superwoman.
Yeah. I'm all over that.
Me too.
One piece of advice that has given you hope, that has inspired you for your journey.
I've had amazing advice along the way. I've also had really, really rubbish advice.
Which makes the good advice.
Yeah. And then you look back on it and you're like, what? No. But I have been fortunate enough to have amazing advice. But it was the piece that I've already shared with you. But it is that, why not you? Why not you?
Yeah.
And it's in anything. It can be, I was talking once about investment and landscape and whatever. And honestly, someone was like, so why don't you invest? I was like, yeah, actually, why aren't I investing? Of course I'm going to do that. So always.
Why not me?
Why not me? Why not you?
Actually, I'm about to put my cape on.
I love it.
Superpower cape.
Love that.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, Michelle, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And thanks to you for listening. Remember to hit follow and subscribe so you don't miss out on hearing our incredible guests still to come. And if today's episode has inspired you, head to our website to find more insights and potential solutions that could help you take action today. Until next time.